Read right at the 70 miles an hour. Read, there you go, 80 miles an hour, no body, so a 10 mile an hour difference. There we go. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video and I'll reveal how I got to the 80 miles an hour. All right, welcome back. So you saw the two runs, 70 miles an hour with the body on. Here is the body and all the hardware that I had to do to take off to get the cage back on. Ran it with the cage and without the cage and made a huge difference. But the one change I did make to this, because I made an error in the video, the gearing is the 25/46, so I just took the MAXX speed pinion, speed spur, and stuck it in here because that's all I had, which I think these are both 50s. Yeah, these are 50s. This is a 50. These are 54s. So the 44 gearing should be coming in on Monday, and we'll stick in the 44 tooth spur, and then I'll work on a pinion. I will run it on the 44 tooth spur the way it is and see what's going on. But in order to get, let's go ahead and take the cage off because it's like that, so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to bring you guys down and show you the differences. And as you see, I've been putting this in several thumbnails and several videos. These are a 6S and an 8S ESC, and they look identical. The only way you can tell the difference is it'll say VXL 8S or VXL 6S. That's it. All the numbers below it, everything about the ESC is identical. I believe it's just going to be the software that's in it. And that's what Traxxas does. Now the MAXX, because that's what these are, the MAXX has a short lead wire, and the 6S has the long lead wire. Reason being is the UDR that came out with the 6S and the eRevo, the ESC was far away from the receiver box, where the MAXX is right next to it. So in order to put an 8S into this is what I did in order to achieve the 70 miles an hour and the 80 miles an hour, leaving it the way it was because it only ran 60. And I'm sure if I pulled off the body, it probably would have went up maybe 10 miles an hour, maybe to 70, because there was a 10 mile an hour difference taking the body off. But I don't feel that the box written saying 70 miles an hour that you should have to pull the body off. You should be able to gear it to go the 70 with the body on, because that's what it's claiming that RC will do. Some people are saying that it's just a computer generated chart, and that's fine. That's just an estimation. But you shouldn't put it on a box of an RC that's not capable of it. And that's one thing Traxxas, I guess, does. And they do it a lot, is that they're claiming a speed that an RC won't go, and I don't agree with that at all. But I still like the RC because I felt the Slash, and you know, a lot of people were hounding me, why are you trying to take a short course truck and do speed runs with it? Well, that was the whole thing back in the day with the 1/10 scale VXL Slash or any four-wheel drive Slash, is that we turned them into speedrun cars because they didn't do well doing anything else. I mean, they were fun to put around in front of the house on grass, flat dirt, but anything with rocks or jumps or any of that, it just didn't do really well. So we turned them into speedrun cars, and you know, 180 miles an hour with a Slash. So I felt it's something I wanted to pay homage to all those guys, including me, that were doing speedruns back in the day with the Slash. And that's why I felt, for me, this platform was going to become paying homage to the MAXX-SLASH, and that's why I'm speedrunning it. Because I honestly don't believe this platform will do well anything else. If you want to run it in front of your house, it's fun. If you want to run it on grass at a park, if you want to run it on flat dirt, it's fun. But any kind of deep sand or any of that stuff, loose sand, it's not going to do good there. I mean, you can try putting paddle tires on, but with the clearance between the body and the tires, it slaps against the body. So I felt a bigger platform might give us more opportunity to do some speed runs. And remember, we went 8S in the 1/10 scale Slash. So is there room to do 12S on this? I don't know. Like I said, my goal was just to hit the 100-mile-an-hour mark, because that was a milestone into the Slash, is to get it to go that 100. And it took a lot of different modifications to do that. And I was hoping with this platform, it's not going to take a lot. And so far, I've done a spur and an ESC swap, and we're already at 80 miles an hour. So, body's going to be another issue. It was an issue with the original Slash, and we went to speed bodies. And my plan was possibly taking this cage and bolting this inside of a speed body eventually, and see what it'll do. But for now, I'm going to run the stock body and see where it starts to parasail out. At one point, this thing is going to catch air underneath it, catch the body, and pull it up. And I possibly might have to drill holes in the back of it. But like I said, I'm always transparent on what I do, and that's why I left the label up so people could see it in the video. A couple people did. All I did, so that I can get to the bottom battery, is I just zip tied the other battery to the top, so that I can run two packs, two bigger packs, which makes it easier to do speed runs. Now, in order to do something like this in the 10 scale Slash, we had to hang sheet metal off the side and strap our batteries to it. So this, much easier because it is a bigger platform and there's more room. So an 8S swap was very easy. I just used a 8S X-Max ESC with an extension wire to the receiver. And that's it. Still running the stock motor. Everything else is stock. So this does have the 25 tooth pinion in it, and which is the stock pinion, and it has a 46 tooth spur, and that's it. 80 miles an hour. Now we need 20 miles an hour more. We're going to go ahead, throw in the 44 tooth. That should gain us, 5-6 mile an hour, maybe 7, and then we'll do a pinion swap, and that'll get us to our 100. At least that's the plan, and it'll probably be 100 with just a cage on. And then we'll have to try to figure out how to gear the pinion big enough in this limited space to do 100, to get 10 more miles an hour out of this thing. At that kind of speed is going to take a lot. So we'll see where it takes us. Quest for 100 mile an hour still on, and I believe we can do it with this platform, with just setting it up the way I set it up, with minor modifications, not having to really buy anything is my goal. ESC, like I said, is a takeoff from an X-Max, so didn't have to buy it, and I have a ton of them. And I had a good discussion with somebody saying, hey, you shouldn't cut your connectors off. You should test it before, in case the ESC is bad. I've got so many of these ESCs because I pulled out so many X-Maxes and so many E-Revos and so many Traxxas RCs, that normally what I do is I just take one that I have that already has a connector on it and bolt it in there. And and I leave them stock like this in case I do need a warranty. But you know, for the most part, it's a good thing. Test your ESC before you cut off the connectors. For me, it's just not something I do because I have so many of these Traxxas ESCs. I'm not a big fan of them. I like the hobby wing stuff for bashing and the castle stuff for speed runs, and that's because I can make changes and look at data and do that kind of stuff, where on this factory one they just don't give you a lot of adjustment with this. And as you can tell, even looking at them, like everything on this is identical. So I believe it's just some sort of firmware on these things. Maybe a different chip on one of the boards, I don't know. But for the most part, those ESCs are exactly the same. So, and it makes it cost effective for Castle. They've been running that stuff for years. But didn't have to do anything. The MAXX ESC bolts right in there, factory location, and it looks stock. So just zip tie battery to the lid, you're good to go. So we're going to charge this up. I'm going to get some gears in it. We're going to go hit the speed run spot again, and let's get to that 100. Let's see what it's going to take, because once we know, people can buy the parts, have themselves a 100-mile-an-hour slash, and play all day long. But there we go. Hopefully I don't have to make another ESC change. Hopefully this ESC will get us to 100 miles an hour. It should easily. The 6S possibly could. We're just going to have a problem with that spur gear. I just don't think it's going to go small enough, and we can't put a big enough pinion in there to hit the 100 mile an hour. Even though on paper you can do it, doesn't mean with this body and this cage and this setup that this RC will do it. And that's what I'm looking for, is to see if this RC will do it. And before I end it, I wanted to talk about why I was so upset about Traxxas pinions, because Traxxas doesn't sell the 27 tooth. If you look at a Traxxas pinion, they are really wide for their spur gears. They match up really good to their spur gears. They're actually a little wider than their spur gear, which I like, because then you get great contact on the spur. So I like that pinion. When you go aftermarket, like this Robinson Racing, you can see how skinny it is. It's so skinny. And then what happens is, when you get it in here, it starts chipping the edge of these teeth over time, especially on the powdered gears, which are these. You really have to have a steel gear. So I'm not a big fan of the Robinson Racing. Here's another look, because this is a Robinson Racing. You can see how skinny it is compared to the factory Traxxas gear. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big difference. And that's why I don't like the Robinson Racing gears. This is another MAXX one, or a Traxxas one. You can always tell the Traxxas, it's got this deep set groove in there. This is a 20 tooth, I think. And this one is a 23 tooth. These are the gears I have for my MAXXs. And then same thing with the spur gears, like the Hot Racing. This is a Hot Racing spur gear. The spur gear is even skinnier than the Traxxas one. So they don't make them. Traxxas makes a pretty fat gear, and most of the aftermarket companies out there don't fit good into this Mod 1 that Traxxas does. Even though it'll work, they tend to sharpen themselves. Like the Arma gears, I've ran Arma gears on my pinions before on MAXXs. Last resort, I don't have anything. I have a bunch of Arma gear because Arma gives you the speed gear. So I always have a ton of speed or pinions for Armas, because Arma used to give you a pinion in every bag. So I would install that pinion, take the one off, and I'd end up with a 17, 18, 19, 20 tooth left over, you know. So have a bunch of those. But they don't mesh up. They're real square, and they didn't mesh up too well with the Traxxas stuff. They fit, the teeth fit in between, they just don't fit all the way down like that does. So that's why I was upset about being told from Traxxas is that you'll have to find an outside source for the 27 tooth in order to achieve the 70 miles an hour. And I think even with the 70 or 27 44 with the body on, this thing's going to be nowhere close to 70 miles an hour, not unless you pull the body. So just wanted to stress that a little bit. But that's how I went ahead and achieved the 70 miles an hour, or the 80 miles an hour with this RC so far. And we'll go from there. Body on 70 miles an hour, body off 10 mile an hour difference, went 80. There we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.